This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace.
Good morning and happy Saturday or whatever day you're listening to this on to another episode of Saturday Morning Mysteries where we're your hosts. I'm Grace.
I'm Alexis.
And we're back for our final Powerpuff Girls episode.
Yeah.
I'm like a little sad to be leaving the Powerpuff Girls.
Me too.
I mean, we'll come back to them. There's so many more episodes, but like,
oh my gosh, we've hardly even skimmed the top of the surface.
Yep, exactly.
Skimmed it. I always feel sad. It's funny. Very quick note, I guess, like behind the curtain for the people listening or watching. I always do feel sad when we get to our last episode because for us, like we record them kind of like so quickly. Like we record everything usually within like a 2 or 3 week span, all 8 episodes. So it's like for us, it goes so quickly. Like, oh man, we've only been talking about the show for a couple of weeks, even though like the episodes have
it's like 2 months.
2 more months. Yeah. But
that's a good point.
They come and they grow up so fast. They come and they go. On to the next one. But we're super fucking excited for our next one. Let me tell you.
It's gonna be
wild. It's gonna be a fucking journey.
It will be. Yeah, we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. Well, we know the show, but what that will entail is gonna be found out together a lot. You'll go on the journey with us. But Alexis will be doing our final, for now, Powerpuff episode. I'm very excited for what you have to say, what you have to tell us. And for maybe at the end, we can talk about our conclusion as to the public cost of the Powerpuff Girls and whether it's worth it or not. So, have at it.
I hope you have a notepad ready because this episode is going to continue bringing some pros and cons to that list for that final discussion that we will be having. Okay. So, today, Grace, the real crimes that we will be discussing are greed and jealousy, if you will. And the riches, the power that comes with money and being rich. So let's get into it.
Okay. This show's anti-capitalist show like they all end up being.
All end up being in the end. So it's a shiny new day in the city of Townsville. And we see a shiny new limousine making its way yet again towards Pokey Oaks Kindergarten. We're going right back to the kindergarten and to all of the wonderful classmates there. Well, they weren't wonderful this week, but maybe we'll like them a little bit more today. Okay. So a chauffeur gets out of this nice shiny white limo and he opens the backside passenger door, revealing the Powerpuff Girls' newest classmate. A freckled, red, poofy, pigtail-haired girl wearing a purple skirt, a yellow sweater, and white stockings.
I remember her.
You remember her. That description might be familiar to many. So, when the chauffeur, he opens this door, all that we see is the girl in the middle of asking her father for more money on her first day at her new school. And her father, he's a faceless man. We only see him from the neck down, but he's in an all white suit with white shoes, and he's got these like various gold rings on. So he's clearly, if the shiny limo didn't already spell it out for you, this man is very rich. And even more so, it will be spelled out for you when we see that he whips out a stack of $100 bills from his pocket and hands it over to his daughter without a word.
Wow. Okay.
The daughter then looks at him and says, "I suppose it'll do." And she climbs out of the limo. Climbs out of the limo and walks towards the kindergarten. Miss Keene then starts class and makes an announcement telling them to give a nice warm welcome to their new classmate, Princess Morebucks. That is right. Her name is Princess Morebucks. So the names, again, I mean, that fits right in, I guess, with the rest of the Floyd and Lloyd Joyson and Mitchell Mitchelson. Elmer Splue, Princess Morebucks. Like, okay, that checks out.
Checks,
So The entire class, they're very kind when they welcome her. They're very excited to have a new classmate, but she simply just kind of like raises her eyebrows and like starts grunting like, whatever. Like she's already, these peons, how dare they welcome me so kindly. So she makes her way through the classroom, kind of like casing the joint and sizing everyone up, trying to figure out like, what's your position here?
Yeah. What does your dad do?
How cool are you? Yeah. What does your dad do? So various students are like calling her over to invite her to join them in their games. And I'm sorry, I have to read through what some of them are because it's it just adds to her character of being a total asshole. Yes, the 6-year-old girl. So first off, for example, Mitch Mitchelson, who we met last week, he's nicer this week. He survived. They got him down from the flagpole. I'm pretty sure this episode came out after the other one. So he's cool. He's somehow still there. Now, I will admit, though, we do not see Lloyd and Floyd Joyson in this episode.
Because they're on the fucking plane.
They're dead. They died.
They're super dead.
They died.
For sure.
So Mitch asks Princess if she'd like to help him and Bubbles finish building a skyscraper out of their like toy building blocks. And Princess responds, when I want to build a skyscraper, my daddy builds me a real one in any city I want. And then she walks away and they're just like,
okay, bitch.
What? Okay.
Yeah, what?
Another group of students, that includes Buttercup, asks the princess if she wants to get on their like make-believe train, aka a bunch of cardboard boxes that they like painted on or like drew on, and play train with them. And Princess responds, I only travel first class on my daddy's private Learjet, which funny, Learjet is an actual company too.
It is?
Yeah, so that's like a real company. And apparently they were like one of the first companies to make private luxury aircraft. So I just thought that was funny. Like, yeah, even better. But also that's funny the writers put that in there. Like, kids don't know what that means. Anyway,
no, I didn't know what it meant.
I didn't either until I watched this. I was like, Learjet, what kind of plane is that? And I was like, oh, this is an actual company that still exists today. Yeah. Anyway, so another student randomly pops out of, this is like the Pigpen kid. He pops out of the flower pot, like he's in the flower pot in the dirt, pops out with a shovel and asks like, Princess, do you like to dig dirt? And she's like, no. What? Which... yeah, understandable. I mean,
this surf? No. My surfs dig dirt for me.
Yeah. Dig, please. I hired someone to tell my surfs to dig dirt for me.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm not getting an inch closer to the shovel. And then, lastly, a very soft-spoken and gentle-looking little girl kindly asks the princess if she wants to play with Twiggy, the class hamster. And Princess gets up in her face and says, ew, no, I do not want to play with your smelly, mangy little rat. Yuck. So, not only does this sadden the little girl who just nicely asked to play with her, but it also saddens poor little Twiggy, the class gerbil, who is perhaps a little, hamster. He's a little more self-conscious and has he has lower self-esteem than your average classroom kindergarten hamster, perhaps. So Twiggy immediately starts running on the little hamster wheel, running in circles, distressed, running faster and faster and faster, almost like it wants to run far away from all these insults and all this negativity that Princess has brought on. Yeah.
Is this the hamster / gerbil origin story from Courage the Cowardly Dog? That gerbil who turns evil?
I don't want to make this episode too long. Do it, but I will very with no shame here. I will say that I had a moment. I got kind of upset watching this episode because how much I learned about gerbils from that episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog. I was like, ooh, no. This gerbil should not be in this kind of crate. This is for hamsters, not gerbils. A gerbil's gonna die if it gets on that wheel. They need a habit trail, not a cage. I was like, this isn't how these kids aren't treating this gerbil.
Twiggy, get out of there.
Twiggy, get out of there. And damn it, Twiggy tried. Twiggy was running and running. So anyway, yeah, I'm not shamed whatsoever to admit that I had a moment watching this, like, oh no, my gerbil research from Courage the Cowardly Dog tells me that these writers got the two animals confused.
Classic mistake, but nonetheless.
It's okay, whatever. So anyway, Twiggy is like trying to escape the situation, running, sad, crying, but it runs so hard on the little gerbil wheel that it causes one of the nuts on the wheel to come loose, and it detaches the wheel from the overall unit, sending Twiggy crashing into the wall of this cage, and it causes the cage to like fly off the counter. And as the cage is like falling towards the ground, the Powerpuff Girls, they spring into action. And they save poor Twiggy. They like vaporize her cage and then fly over to grab her before she makes it. It's like super over the top.
They knew she needed a habit trail too.
They knew. But essentially, it's good that they did it because they were really just trying to show off all their powers. They're like, look, we can fly, we have laser vision, we have super strength. And yeah, you need a habit trail. We're going to replace this for you. So nearly the entire class starts cheering, thankful that the girls were able to save their beloved pet gerbil. However, the princess is just standing there in silence, watching like, oh, whoa. First time that she seems to be impressed by anything that's going on in this classroom. So she runs up to the girls, all excited, asking them about their powers and how amazing it was. You know, they saved Twiggy and how cool it was. And she's like, how are you guys able to do that? And the girls, they just play it off nonchalantly, we're just superheroes. It's easy. We're the Powerpuff Girls. Haven't you heard of us? And I guess they're new to town. Maybe Daddy just bought a new building here, so they moved into the city of Townsville because Princess doesn't really seem to understand. She just kind of tosses her hair and is like, oh, well, then I guess I'm going to be a Powerpuff Girl too. And the Powerpuff Girls, they all start kind of chuckling, like, who this bitch? Who are you? And Blossom quiets down her sisters. Girls. What we mean to say is
we're this bitch.
We're these bitches. You're not. So bye-bye, princess. But no, what Blossom really tells her is that they're not really accepting new members at the moment. Sorry, but thank you for your interest.
You kind of have to be like born with it.
Thank you for sending us your resume, but no thank you. So this is an unacceptable response to Princess, as she always gets her way. As we know, her daddy will buy her anything. So she tells the girls that they can't just blow her off like some common peon. She actually says that.
Does she?
Yes. Which makes me realize, I'm like, oh, that's probably how I knew what that word meant when I was like 8 years old. Yeah.
True, actually. Yeah.
She's like, I'm Princess and my daddy buys me anything I want and I want to be a Powerpuff Girl, she says with rage increasing. And so the girls again are like with a little bit more, sternness in their voice. They're like, no, like sorry, but not sorry. We were born this way and you can't just buy superpowers. To which I always say, well, unless you're Iron Man or Batman, then you can buy all the superpowers you want. And hilariously, Princess responds, oh yeah, tell that to Batman.
Point to Princess. She's right.
I was like, she is 1,000% right, actually. Yep. Although Batman does also have the superpower of plot armor, but that's another story for another day. So 3 p.m. strikes and school is dismissed. On their way home, their flight home, Buttercup says to Blossom and Bubbles that she doesn't really like Princess, and Bubbles agrees, saying that she was really mean to everyone and wonders what her deal is. And Blossom, the even keel one of the group, is like, oh, we should give her a chance. She probably just doesn't really know how to make friends yet since she's new. True. So, meanwhile, though, we see Princess also return home. And God, this house, Moorbucks Manor, this lavish, extravagant, it's like 5 times bigger than the White House.
Oh my
She
God.
busts open the door. There are these pristine tile floors and chandeliers everywhere and massive portraits hanging on the wall. And it's just this beautiful home. And she busts through the front doors, just screaming and crying for her daddy. And she runs down the hallways into his like office or his lounge or whatever. And she starts just like screaming and crying, telling her dad that everyone at school was mean to her and ignored her, especially the Powerpuff Girls. And she goes on to say that everyone loves the Powerpuff Girls. She wanted to be a Powerpuff too, but they were being selfish and spoiled. And they told the princess that she couldn't be a Powerpuff Girl, but she wants to be one. So she starts crying even more and has a full-on temper tantrum, like laying on the ground, slamming her fists and stuff on the ground, jumping up and down and shouting, like just everything, until her dad, who again doesn't say a word and is just this faceless character, he just hands out yet another stack of money from his pocket and just like hands it to her, like, please shut the fuck up. But this time it's like a stack of $1,000 bills.
Wow, we're too poor to even know those exist. We're not allowed to use those.
I didn't even know they made anything over a $10 bill until I watched this episode.
Yeah, our banks don't give those out.
No. Not the common man's, the common peon's bank. No. First National Common Peon Bank
of America.
Yes. So this fresh wad of cash, it puts a twinkle in Princess's eyes, and she immediately shuts up and ends her tantrum. And the next day, back at Pokey Oaks Kindergarten, we see the kids again doing their early morning coloring assignment of sorts, whatever kindergartners do in the AM before recess. And the princess shows up actually in quite royal fashion. She like bursts open the doors and we hear all of these like horns playing, you know, they got like the horns lined up on both sides with like the banners hanging from them. And she has on like this cloak, this purple cloak with like white poof on the trims, the furry white, on the trims, and this very ornate gold crown with I think like a red stone right in the middle of it. And she takes off this cloak while the horns continuing behind her, and it unveils this new super suit that is essentially, it's the same as the Powerpuff Girls suits, but it's gold. And you know, she's still got like the black belt, and her boots go all the way up above her knees, and she's got these long black gloves on too, and of course the crown. And the entire class just kind of stares at her as she walks in, and she's like, all hail Princess, the newest and best loved Powerpuff Girl of all time. And the class takes a moment to stare at her, takes a moment to turn around and stare at the Powerpuff Girls.
Elmer's sitting there eating his glue like, thank God the attention's not on me anymore. Look at this shit,
like
right?
Michael Jackson eating his popcorn in the theater for all the tea. No, Elmer eating his glue. Just I can't wait to see what they say next.
Ooh, it's gonna go down.
But yeah, so the class, you can tell, is visibly like, oh no, what are they gonna do? And then after like a couple seconds of silence from everyone, Buttercup finally stands up from the table and says what every single person in this classroom is thinking. What?
The fuck you doing, girl?
Like throws her hands up in the air. So, Princess, she walks over to the girls and says, see, I told you I was going to be a Powerpuff Girl. Like, you like my new outfit? And Bubbles, oh, the sweetheart she is, she's like, yeah, I like your outfit. It's kind of cute. And Princess,
boots, DSW,
girl, at the same store where Mojo Jojo and him and Sedusa, and all of them get their boots.
The villain DSW Townsville.
Exactly. So Princess is like, of course you like my suit. It's just like yours, except better. And Buttercup is like, girl, she literally says, that's not ad-libbing. That's not like, me interpreting what she's saying. She's straight up like, girl.
I love that.
The sass. The sass is the real superpower in today's episode. So
amazing.
Blossom is like, look, I'll handle this, guys. So she goes up to Princess and she's a little more direct with her this time, more so than she was the day before. She's like, now, Princess, sweetie.
The sass on these children.
Sweetie, maybe we didn't explain well enough. But before she could finish, the Powerpuff hotline starts to ring. And so Blossom, she flies over and she answers the phone. And Princess is like, why are they the only ones that get to answer the phone?
Oh my God.
But of course, it is the mayor on the other line telling them that First National Bank has just been robbed or is in the process of being robbed, and they need to go and defeat the criminals at once. So the Powerpuff Girls, they zoom off to save the day, leaving Princess behind. And she's like, hey, wait for me. And like a jetpack comes out of her back, like these two like wing thingies out of either side. And she just like takes off after them. Wow. And so yeah, hey, money can buy some superpowers, or at least technology to make you think you have superpowers.
It's true.
So the Powerpuff Girls, they arrive to the bank just in the nick of time, right as the crooks are like loading all these bags into their truck. They tell them to stand still, essentially, before we kill you. So the crooks then start shooting. They whip out guns, full-on guns, and start shooting at the girls. Semi-automatic weapons until they've literally completely unloaded them, like to the point where you just hear like the click, 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 and they like look at them like, ah, shit.
Oh, fuck.
We're empty. And hilariously, though, since the girls are bulletproof, add that to their list of powers.
Oh, cool.
Blossom just like shakes her head with her hands on her hips, like, why do they always want to do it the hard way? And so, just as they're getting ready to beat the shit out of these criminals, Princess shows up, telling the Powerpuff Girls not to worry and that she's come to save them. But as she says this, though, she like lands, jetpacks in and lands right in front of the Powerpuff Girls. She pulls out these like crown-shaped like ninja star batarang, like projectile boomerang type thingies, and she throws them at the crooks, but they miss and just like boomerang back and like hit the Powerpuff Girls in the face.
Oh no.
And so then she like Princess pulls out this like grappling hook type thing and like shoots it into the ceiling and tries to like swing over and superhero kick the crooks.
Oh no.
But the ceiling tile just like falls out as she's swinging.
That's sweet justice.
It is sweet justice. It's hilarious because she just lands on her ass, but also the tile lands directly on the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh no.
Like
these criminals are like, thanks. Bye.
Literally, they are, because now the Powerpuff Girls are stuck. Princess is on her ass, and the crooks are like easily able to just like get in their car.
Oh no.
And like go, but before they do, they're somehow also able to strap a bomb around Princess. So they like tape her mouth shut and tape this bomb around her, and they just like throw her out of the truck right in front of the Powerpuff Girls and like drive through a window in it's a ground level bank with like
okay
windows. Yeah. Drive through a window. If we can't have this money, nobody can.
Also, as a side note, they would have gotten more money if they just kidnapped Princess. Got
Probably.
That child ransom slash child insurance.
Yeah.
Kidnapping insurance.
But kidnapping insurance, another hot topic on this podcast. That would have been an easy way out. Yeah. Oh God. Daddy Morebucks would have easily paid that up. Anyway, or his insurance company, I guess, would have easily paid that up. Mm-hmm. So the criminals, they're gone now. And poor Princess, not really poor Princess, I hate this girl. But she does have a bomb strapped to her though, so like, okay, I feel kind of bad for her right now. Yeah.
Like, fuck this girl, but
fuck this girl. Oh wait, she has a bomb strapped to her. Right. So the Powerpuff Girls, they're able to get back up and like remove the crumbled ceiling tile off of them. and they are able to like detach the bomb from her. They throw it up into the sky, blow it up with their laser vision, whatever. And everyone in the bank is like cheering and applauding, like, yay, Powerpuff Girls, you saved us. And then they get really quiet when they realize the girls are not celebrating. They're just like standing there looking pissed off at Princess. And so they all start like, sorry. And like everyone in the bank just kind of like scatters, like, okay, sorry. And at this point, the Powerpuff Girls just start laying into Princess, blaming her for the crooks getting away and telling her that this is exactly why she can't be a Powerpuff Girl, because she doesn't actually have superpowers. So Blossom, she approaches this very reasonably, and she's like, Princess, see, crime fighting is really dangerous. So really, this is about your own safety when we say that you can't be a Powerpuff Girl. But shocking absolutely no one. And yes, even though it was a really good point, this is just not an option for Princess, who always gets what she wants. Spoiled little brat. So goes home and she cries even harder to Daddy Morbucks, saying that she was being a good Powerpuff Girl, but they were yelling at her. And the man, he grabbed me and he put a bomb on me and everyone laughed at me. Is how she described it. Which now I'm realizing, yeah, maybe Daddy Morbucks is like in the defense industry or something, because none of this shakes him. He's like, oh yeah, grow up, kid. This shit happens to us all the time. Do you know how many bombs I've had strapped on to me?
And do you know how many bombs I've strapped to other people? I mean, have only been strapped to me. Here's the money.
Which he does. Super shady rich person type shit, pulls out a silver briefcase from his pocket, hands it to her. She opens it, Princess opens it, and the entire room turns gold, and she's blinded by the riches, a la like Pulp Fiction when Vincent and Jules open Marcel's, everything turns gold, just like whoa.
Good.
And so Princess sees this and she just starts smiling, like, now that's the love I'm talking about. And so she's grinning. And then again, the next morning at Pokey Oaks, the girls are still sitting there wondering where Princess is as they're coloring, or doing their AM coloring. I guess that's kindergarten curriculum. And they're like, yeah, she's probably still crying from yesterday or something like that. But out of nowhere, as they're just sitting there coloring, there's like a massive explosion that blows out one of the walls of the kindergarten.
Oh no.
This poor school. And in flies Princess through all of the like soot and like debris.
Honestly, this is the first thing she's done that's on brand for Powerpuff Girls.
Pretty much.
Destroy a building.
They're looking at her like, okay, maybe you do have what it takes.
Yeah, you get us now. Cool.
We don't usually fail on robberies, but we do destroy a lot of buildings. If we can get you blowing more shit up, maybe we do have a space.
You can
on
be our
team
demolition expert.
Yes. So in through this demo flies Princess, and she's got this like upgraded suit. It's essentially like an Iron Man type suit now. It's like full body, gold plated body suit with these like pink goggles now attached to her crown as like headgear. And she no longer has the jetpack sticking out from the side. Now she's got these like self-propelling like jet boot type of things.
It's pretty cool.
It is, I mean, like, hey, I'm not gonna lie. If I had a lot of money, I would probably blow it on like an Iron Man suit too. Let's be real. This is why I can't be rich. Yeah. So she also, though, has these like massive bolts of electricity shooting from her hands, and this just like cloud of electricity kind of like following her around. Wow. And hilariously, Bubbles like looks at Blossom and Buttercup and just whispers like, looks like she went shopping this morning. Uh-oh. And so Princess just goes into this monologue like, all I ever wanted was for everyone to instantly love me as much as they love you guys. But no, you turned everyone against me.
It's been 72 hours, first of all.
Maybe not even. Yeah. And like, girl, we didn't turn anyone against you.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious because right as she says that, everyone is like hiding under their desks.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they're afraid of you. They didn't get turned against you. You're evil and mean.
The Michael Scott quote, I want them to be afraid of how much they love me.
That's what she wants. Yes. And she's succeeding at that right now. And so she goes on. She's like, you humiliated me. You told me I could never be a Powerpuff Girl. Well, if I can't be a Powerpuff Girl, then there won't be any Powerpuff Girls.
And she like on the mind.
She's about to murder some little girls. So she starts to like wind up her electricity to attack the girls. But hilariously, Miss Keene, who I said before in last week's episode or a couple weeks ago, she's very kind, very soft-spoken, but really protective of her students. She just kind of slowly walks up to the princess and interrupts her like, princess. And she like tries to put on a stern voice, but is also like being very gentle about it. Yeah. She's like, the girls already know this rule, but you're new. So I'll let you know. I don't allow any fighting in the classroom. Please don't kill me.
Please don't kill me. Also, an accurate rule for the Powerpuff Girls.
But yes. Exactly, accurate. And the princess, though, she understands. So she's like, oh, I'm sorry. We'll take it outside. So she like shoots the girls through another wall, blowing out yet another wall in poor Pokey's kindergarten. And though they take the fight outside. So she's going to follow that one classroom. Yeah, very respectful. Good on you, princess. I'll give you that point, I guess.
Yeah.
And so the girls regroup and they shake it off. And Princess is like, so who said money can't buy superpowers? And Buttercup, at this point, she was the first one to hate Princess. She's over the bullshit. She charges towards her, swinging and kicking in every which direction. But Princess, she's got this like new armor and it's increasing her speed and her strength. To the point where she's able to literally block and just avoid every single punch and kick that Buttercup throws at her. Shit. And she blocks one to the point where she's able to just get Buttercup right in the gut and then another one right in the back and just knocks Buttercup the fuck out. Yeah, Buttercup's out. Yeah, she's out for the count. And so then Bubbles springs into action and tries to avenge her fallen sister. She shoots lasers at Princess from her eyes, but the lasers just like bounce off of the arm of Princess's armor and like they have to like dodge them. Like, oh shit. And so then Bubbles tries to use yet another power they have that I don't think we've talked about, like a sonic scream where they just scream so loud and you see like all these pulses of energy come out of their mouths essentially. And so she tries to rattle the princess, but the princess just like puts her hand up to block it and the waves just repel off of her and like bounce back at Bubbles. And then like she hits her with an electric bolt and it knocks Bubbles out too. Yikes. So money can buy some pretty good superpowers, y'all.
I guess so.
I guess. And so now Blossom is standing as the last Powerpuff Girl in this battle. And Princess says that with the help of the new suit, the Powerpuff Princess, as she is referring to herself now, has them beat all around. And she asks Blossom if she's jealous and scared of seeing how easily she was able to take down her sisters. So Blossom, she's standing there in silence, just mean mugging the princess. She's like, I'm not going to give in to these games. I'm just trying to size her up right now. Like, what can I do? What can I pin on her to figure out how to take her down? And I think in the coldest, absolute dopest move I've seen in this show so far, Princess shoots a bolt at Blossom, but she's just standing there with her hands on her hips. And like as the electric bolt gets close to her, she legit just like tilts her head slightly, sending it back behind her, and then puts it right back up and just mean mugs.
That's psychological warfare right there.
Insane. She's like, I'm fucking done with this shit. She's like, I'm not the biggest playing.
Fuck you to her. She's like, I ain't scared. I ain't have to fucking move my feet.
And it pisses the princess off. So she charges at Blossom to punch her. But ever the quick thinker, Blossom just sticks out her leg and trips the princess.
Blossom.
Beautiful, perfect playground fighting, if you ask me. And it sends the princess flying through the playground directly into a slide that like folds in on her when she makes impact. And so she's like breaking apart the slide to get free. And she charges back at Blossom, throwing all these punches and attempting to like kick her and all this. And I should say too, like all these fights, they're very like anime inspired for sure. Like that cool. Super up close, like multiple combo hit, like it's so awesome. That's cool. You just see Blossom like dodging every single one of them and eventually just like uppercut the shit out of Princess and like sends her flying.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And this is just in time for Bubbles and Buttercup to come too. So right as Blossom like uppercuts the shit out of her, she's like, Bubbles, catch, or whatever, and Bubbles like hits her and knocks her over to Buttercup, like Buttercup. So they're just like playing pass essentially
in the playground.
Princess. It's essentially they keep doing this until one of them like knocks Princess up so far in the sky that Blossom then flies up and like freezes her with her ice breath, thus destroying her super suit's technology and leaving her powerless and sending the princess just like careening back down to ground very high up. But they catch her right before she lands. They're nice. And she's just like crying in their arms now, whatever, like, why won't you let me be a Powerpuff girl? And Blossom just like drops her, like, because you're just a spoiled brat. Being a Powerpuff girl is about getting your way. In my mind, I imagine like the background disappears and turns into like an American flag or something, and she's like giving her speech like, it isn't about having the best stuff or being popular or powerful. It's about using your own unique abilities to help people in the world we all live in. Like, okay,
she puts her hand on her heart.
You see her with like her hand on her hips, and then Blossom and Buttercup and Bubbles behind her, like with their hand on their hearts, or like saluting or some shit. I wish. It's not actually how it happens, but I wish. That's in our rewrite, that's how it would happen.
Yeah.
And so then Blossom gives her the final blow, like, and you, Princess, have done nothing worthy of the name Powerpuff. Damn.
Again, psychological warfare.
Exactly. That's how you really get to her, right? So at this point, hilariously, the cops arrive, like with the paddy wagon. Like, I mean, I guess, yeah, she committed some crimes. I guess the owners of Pokey Oaks are apparently going to press charges on all the property damage.
I mean, they were like, we're going to get a good settlement from her daddy, so we're going to press charges.
So, yeah, so the cops like put handcuffs on Princess, to which Buttercup hilariously is like, ooh, nice bracelets. And Bubbles is like, they'd be just smashing with your new prison wardrobe.
They're going hard. They're going hard.
Now. They are. Now they're the bullies. They're the bullies. And we see how that goes.
Whatever. Yeah.
And the cops are like literally dragging Princess away by her collar as she's screaming like, you don't do this to me. Do you know who my daddy is? He knows that people like money. I'm rich and all this shit. Like they're dragging this girl and they just like throw her into the paddy wagon, slam the door, and drive off. The end.
Quick theory that Daddy Morebucks is definitely a defense contractor under the table. I think the cops are actually like FBI and they've been looking for a reason to like finally take him down. They've been building a case for the last decade. And then like
him to talk.
The girl just gave it to him in 72 hours. They were like the perfect excuse to arrest.
Boom. They like, this was a really deep operation. All right. Yeah. So once they realized that Daddy Morebucks was moving to the city of Townsville, they're like, oh man, we got to get away for him, make a way for him to enroll Princess into the same school as Powerpuff Girls. They already have like a whole psycho like analysis profile. Exactly. They're like, she's gonna get jealous. She's gonna get into a fight with him. It's gonna cause all this destruction. We'll be able to take her into jail. And then that'll be our chip to get to Daddy Morebucks. This
and
illegal
also
arms trafficker.
Well, and also he probably was keeping this technology because also he definitely works for defense because she was able to get those Iron Man suits overnight.
Yeah, like
so
immediately. Yeah.
for
Like you
sure,
don't buy that in a store. Yeah, he just had to
already in
pay.
production.
Exactly. He was
Yeah,
essentially
and so-
handing her a suitcase with money to pay his like main R&D person,
Yes.
research and development people. Like, here, my daddy just gave me this so that you could get the suit
make
out of the
it in my
closet for me
size.
here.
Yeah, and so
pretty
now
much.
they have the suit in evidence, which they've also been trying to look for, but have never been able to get their hands on it. They're going straight to the Pentagon with this shit. They're going
right
straight to the FBI. They are going. They're not stopping in Townsville.
And you see Daddy Morebucks, he just thought he'd be able to buy his way out. And to be fair, jury's still out on that. He probably will be able to buy his way out of the congressional investigation. But that's why he was so like okay with her using the stuff. He's like, oh, I'm rich, nothing happens to me anyway. As long as they don't like find out that I'm an arms trafficker. Right?
We'll just fly to a different country, whatever. We'll take our private jet and leave the country for a little bit. It'll blow over.
Expanding on this theory, I think that Daddy Morebucks does do that actually. But he leaves Princess behind because Princess is in a lot of other episodes after this one. She's a pretty big Powerpuff Girls villain. I think we see her in prison later too. So like she may still be locked up. So in the alternative, if this wasn't a way to actually get Daddy Morebucks to like give up his whole game, he was like, oh fuck, they got my daughter, I gotta fucking flee. They're gonna get
they thought it was gonna get like have him give up his whole game, but then they realized he doesn't give a shit about his daughter.
Ruthless. He's ruthless, and that's how rich he is. He can just give her suitcases of money without even caring about her.
Right, exactly.
Which actually proves that he hates her, because it's like rather than sitting down with her and being a good father and talking to her about her issues, he just hands her money, like
take the money and go.
Yeah, pretty much. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That was a great one. And this was a rough episode in the sense of, I think this would point to the Powerpuff Girls being a public good because they've possibly helped at least try and take down a sting operation for probably an arms dealer.
Yeah,
so
true.
That's probably on the good side of things. We don't want his technology anywhere in the world, even here.
Yeah, and even, you know, more directly to them too. It's like at the end of the day, Princess is just a douche. Excuse my
and like
terrible.
She's the one who caused all the damage. She's time.
She's dangerous. She's dangerous.
Yeah.
People with that much money are almost always dangerous. If not just
billionaires
like
should not exist. And we've known this since Powerpuff Girls as children. They told us apparently.
They told us. Yeah, we knew that in 1999, and we know it still today. So it's a good one for them in the sense that they do actually, they provide a public good because they're not the ones starting shit. This is probably our most pro Powerpuff Girls episode when you think about it. Yeah, because this is a true threat that I mean, jealousy is a hell of a drug, man. You can't kick it. Can't kick it.
Greed.
So they had to neutralize this threat, and they did it. But the only damage really was to that bank, which again was the robbers and Princess that did all of that, and Pokey-Oaks, which is a little bit of a mixed bag. I think Princess did most of the damage.
Right,
to the
exactly.
School,
she busted down the walls.
This
is an interesting one for the case for and against the public good.
So here's the last thing maybe I'll say on that. Yes, Princess was terrible, but like in the grand scheme of things, how much of a win was this for the Powerpuff Girls? You know, like Elmer did way more damage overall to the city of Townsville than Princess did. Now she is unhinged and she could have done more damage. So maybe it's like the Powerpuff Girls stopped it nice and early before it could get super out of hand. But at the same time, it's like, okay, so for their one real big win, it's like, did they really like change the trajectory of the public of society?
Our wild speculation, if the FBI was already watching the Morebucks family, they were going to find a way to take them down no matter what. So like, it was just convenient that the Powerpuff Girls were their tool, but either way, they already were building a case in my mind against the Morebucks. So if it wasn't the Powerpuffs, it would have been someone else.
True. That's true. You know, I think at the end of the day, where I stand is they do a lot of damage. There's a lot of collateral damage, but at the end of the day, if you're going to have giant snake beasts running around your town and one-eyed spiky monsters and evil monkeys or apes.
Apes.
Which one is
Sorry,
it?
Lenny.
Apes. Excuse me, Lenny. Thank you.
Our
science consultant.
Yeah. Correspondent did correct me that it's not monkeys. Mojo's not a monkey. He's an ape.
He's an ape, yes. And we can talk about that another day, but whatever. Blame also the writers of Powerpuff Girls, because I'm pretty sure they all describe him as a monkey too. Again, they don't research these things. They don't research animals. They don't research gerbils and hamsters. Kills me.
That's the biggest crime.
But anyway, so like I was saying, if this town is going to be riddled with all these crazy ass monsters and stuff, they have to expect some collateral damage. And at the end of the day, the Powerpuff Girls are the only ones that can actually defeat these things. So my advice, as per always, get some insurance, y'all, because damage is inevitable.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. That like I wasn't looking at it in that regard of like, this is a town riddled with monsters and villains. That can only be stopped by other super beings, because it's like 3-headed monster things, Cyclops monsters, pace monsters, like literal absolute crazy villains.
Yeah, so like the military doesn't want to touch that.
Yeah, so that's a good point. That like, military would probably do more damage, like martial law. Just send the Powerpuff Girls in so you can go about your day. They take care of it lickety split.
Honestly, wow, yeah, that's probably why the Townsville loves them so much. They're like, oh, you mean like we can keep being at the grocery store while you guys are taking out that monster? They're like getting milk as like looking out the window, like, oh yeah, they got it.
Have to cool. We're make sure they're not like close enough to your building that day. Be like, I need to go into the store. Which block are they on? They'll probably destroy that building. I'll go to the Whole Foods down the street.
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah, I would say just, don't get like nice new cars if you live in the city of Townsville, because it'll probably get chucked at a monster one day, or stepped on by a monster, or a Powerpuff Girl will fall out of the sky onto it and just ruin it. So maybe or either that, or just use public transportation instead, but don't rely on it too much, because they also might use a bus to throw at a monster. It's
it's a calculated
risk. Every day's a gamble.
Right. And again, the calculated risk is get stepped on by a monster if you live in Townsville, or get possibly collateral damaged by the Powerpuff Girls. But it would be like
the monster was defeated.
Yes, exactly. Like it would either be definitely get killed by a monster, or possibly get slightly injured by one of these. If Powerpuff Girls weren't there, you're going to get killed by the monster. So yeah, that's a good point. That makes it worth it.
Yeah.
Great take.
So all in all, Powerpuff Girls,
worth
it. Keep on doing what you're doing.
Good. Good. I like it. I agree.
Wonderful. So yeah, it's been fun. Been a fun 8 weeks talking about these super powered badass little kindergarten girls and their interesting family and mayor and the city and village of Townsville. But like we said at the beginning, we have a new show up on deck for to go through after this, and we are both very, very excited for it. I can't laugh without even just thinking about it. Oh man. Or I can't, whatever. I can't think about it without laughing.
Get ready, everyone.
It's you know what I mean? It's gonna be a journey, and we're excited. So come back next week and join us for that.
Yes.
But until then, when we take on this new journey of ours, Grace, who should the listeners and viewers tell about this podcast?
Let's see. I think between now and next week, the viewers should tell the CEO of Lear Private Jet Airways to listen to this podcast so they sponsor this, because this was basically a free ad for them. So tell Lear Jetway, whatever the fuck their airlines, whatever their name actually is.
Learjet.
To listen to this podcast, this episode specifically, and to shoot us a sponsorship. Give us some free rides.
Yeah, or give us a free jet.
Yeah.
Private jet.
Right. And then we could record in person all the time if we had a private jet to each other. That's
from our jet.
Right now. Yeah.
Just record from our jet.
Yeah, exactly. Around. In the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck the environment, right?
Yeah, fuck it. It's worth it.
And so also, if you're going to tell the folks, the wonderful folks at Learjet, established in the year 18...
Learjet.
With Learjet, you can get all of your valuable needs taken care of. Flight crews. I felt like what is it, like infomercial music behind this part? Like
with Learjet. You won't have to worry about it.
Like their logo all over. Learjet.
Like spinning.
Learjet. Like the 80s or 90s, like super low quality like word art.
Yeah.
Learjet. But no, so also tell an airline pilot. I don't think we've talked about them yet. So tell one of them on your luxury personal jet that you have, your private jet.
Is it luxury? It must be Lear.
It must be.
Yeah,
if it is luxury, then it is Lear. Yeah. Learjet, brought to you by.
Yes, tell your private jet pilot.
Have we've come to the phase of our life where we are putting on private airline companies. Like that's so on brand for us, is it not?
As we're like, billionaires shouldn't exist unless you're existing on Learjet.
It's like, what demographic is this even playing to? I guess maybe there's like 2 billionaires or multimillionaires that have come across this podcast. I don't know. If so, this goes out for you.
This one's for you and only you.
Brought to you by Learjet.
We hope you're listening on your Learjet with the great speakers and surround sound included on every aircraft.
On every aircraft. Rest your head. Sit back a moment. Our extra cushioned seats are perfect for any flight, long or short. Enjoy Dom Perignon while you look over out the window at the beautiful sea and the Peon below, who appear just little ant specks from the beauty of the Learjet.
Wow, incredible. Great. Well, I got to go catch my Learjet flight. So until next week.
Pick me up, right? You're going to come get me so we can record our next episode. Awesome.
Yes, exactly. Perfect. Until next week. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus tune tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on. So just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.